Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, the Nosy Goddess, and we're getting into Allison Holcomb today. We're getting all into her business, child. Now, this was Stephen Twitch Boss's widow. You remember Stephen Twitch Boss? He was a phenomenal dancer. He had a claim to fame on So You Think You Can Dance and as well on The Ellen Show. And he unfortunately passed away, they're saying by suicide, in December of 2022. He was only 40 years old. Now, he and Allison were married with two children. He adopted her child that she had previous to him. And, it's just a really sad story about the fact that they lost him the way they did so suddenly and so honestly, mysteriously. A lot of rumors have been swirling around Stephen's death with regard to what really happened and the fact that it was such a strange story of him supposedly committing suicide in this hotel room not far from his home. Now, there have been rumors about a connection to Diddy. There's rumors with regard to Ellen. We know she doesn't have the best past and track record when it comes to people. And she also has rumors around her as well. But today, what we're talking about is Allison coming out and talking about the fact that she discovered that Twitch had a drug addiction, she says, in a very scary moment before his funeral. And I'm going to just go ahead and play an excerpt of this 18-minute clip from people.com. And let's let her tell this part of her story.
I had dealt with an ex that had addiction problems, and then I realized Stephen had addiction problems, and it's something that I kind of have been like, where was I involved in this? And I had to take some steps for myself to realize, like, I was able to help one, and I wish I could have been that for the other. But it's also not my job to do that. There was a moment I was with one of my really dear friends, and we were cleaning out the closet and picking out an outfit for him for the funeral. And it was a really triggering moment for me because there was a lot of things I discovered in our closet that I did not know existed. And it was very alarming to me to learn that there was so much happening that I had no clue. So it was a really scary moment in my life to figure that out. But it also helped me process that he was going through so much and he was hiding so much, and there must have been a lot of shame in that. And he was wrestling with a lot inside himself, and he was trying to self-medicate and cope with all those feelings because he didn't want to put it on anyone, because he loved everyone so much. He didn't want other people to take on his pain. But it was very alarming and scary to find those things and have never known. I had been trying to release all this anger this whole time. And I thought for a moment I thought if you would have asked me 6 months ago, I thought I'd released all the anger out towards Stephen. And I'm now learning that you're always going to have triggers. There's always going to be a moment when I get really sad or really angry or have a new thing I find out and get really confused, or like I said, like an aha moment of like, oh, how did I not know that before? And then I realized that's all a part of healing. And it's about creating tools that are healthy enough for you to get through those triggers. And that's where I'm at now, as I'm trying to make sure, even if I hit a low, if I hit something really hard, I just can channel it and realize it and fix it. One of my really good friends, she was over at my home right after everything had happened with Stephen. And she told me I should document everything. And I was like, why would I document anything? She goes, it's going to be important for you to share your story one day. And so from that moment on, I just randomly would like jot notes in my phone, even though I'd be crying and I'd be so sad. But I was like, this might be important one day, or even to share it with my kids one day, the experience that we went through, because my youngers, they might not remember certain details and things. So I started jotting things down. But it is interesting when you're on this healing journey, and the journey that I've been on is things were being discovered, or new things, or I was having new aha moments. So I would be writing this book and then have to be like, wait, go back. This is different for me now. Or I just realized this for the first time. And And it was kind of like therapy for me. And I looked at myself all the time in the mirror. I was like, wow, like there's been a lot of questions about why I don't post about Steven. And the truth is, it hurts me to sometimes look back and see pictures. It's very triggering. It was such a beautiful time, but then the stories have kind of turned and changed. And there is some sadness I have for my children. And it's also really important in my healing journey that people start to see me as me without him. I thought it was going to be very, very hard for me to accept love from someone. I thought it was going to be so difficult because I was like, am I betraying Steven by doing that? And then I did find love, and I feel happier than ever. I really do. And I'm really grateful that I made that choice to open myself up to it, because it's been the best decision I've made in a really, really, really long time. My love and partnership has a completely different energy and a completely different feel now. It feels like a love that's been lived with before. It feels like this is just our third time loving each other. It feels like it's my forever. It feels like it's my future and my support system. And I have such a calmness about this love. I have such a freedom in it, and I feel so safe and secure. And it's brought out a different side of me that I've never lived from. I feel like I lean in more to my feminine side, and I feel so much more alive, and I feel so loved. And so I'm so grateful that I very hesitantly allowed that to come into my life, because Adam is wonderful. I'm excited for my kids, their futures, and seeing them shine. I can see them laughing again. I see them opening themselves up and trying to figure out their futures and finding hobbies that they love to do. I'm excited about this love that I have now in my life and moving forward with that. I'm also excited that me and Wesley are going to be having a podcast coming out that we're starting right now. So there's some fun new projects that are keeping us moving forward, and we're understanding that our purpose is to really be there for other people through mental health and being examples to them. And we're kind of taking that head on and accepting that that's our new way of life. And I hope to be that for people. And so I'm looking forward to a new chapter where we can shine again.
Now, something that she didn't say in the video, but that is quoted from her upcoming memoir, is that throughout their 9-year marriage, it says Holker, who details her healing journey in a new memoir titled This Far, which is coming out February 4th, believes she and Boss had a very honest communication, including about his marijuana use. At night after their kids went to bed, he would quietly slip into their guest house to smoke or drink. In quotes, it says that was his alone time. It was his time to recharge, and that was okay. But she says, as she combed through his journals, hoping to find clarity and closure after his death, Holker learned her husband had hidden painful secrets from even those closest to him. Says he was wrestling with a lot inside himself, and he was trying to self-medicate and cope with all of those feelings because he didn't want to put it on anyone else, because he loved everyone so much. He didn't want other people to take on his pain. Reading Steven's journals and even going back into the books he had read and the things that he was highlighting and lining really gave me a better perspective of where he was in life and the type of things he was struggling with. It did have me feel a lot of empathy towards him and sadness for all the pain he was holding. She underscores that she's now sharing Boss's struggles and the aftermath of his death in hopes of saving even just one person who has been struggling in silence. She said, it's really hard to put the pieces all together through certain discussions, even with friends and things that have been said. Reading through his journals, you realize he went through a lot as a child and never faced it. It's hard to think that he never opened up to someone and wanted to face it to get through the other side. I really hope people dealing with the same thing will help themselves out of the shadows and know you're going to be okay. While Boss, who was acting withdrawn, showering less frequently, and smoking morning and night, acknowledged to her that he was going through a low period. He was very careful about his wording, she recalls. At the time, he was closing out 8 years at the Ellen DeGeneres show while he was ending a run as a judge on So You Think You Can Dance. She's not disclosing all this information just for her own healing purposes. She has a book coming out. And, she also went on to talk about her new relationship. And good for her. Everyone deserves love. But she don't have love from everybody. Now, about a year after Twitch's passing, Twitch's brother actually came out and seemed to accuse Allison of creating an unsettling atmosphere of estrangement and keeping their kids from seeing his family 8 months after he unalived himself at an LA motel. Now, I did cover this. If you go back into the archives, there's a whole video about this. But per this article, they're saying the brother of Stephen Twitch Boss has claimed that since his brother's suicide last year, his side of the family has been denied access to the late actor's children. In a post to Instagram on Sunday, DeAndre Rose said his mother and grandparents were trying to process Boss's death, but that they had been disrespected and alienated family affairs. Naming their mother, Rose said his late brother's 3 children have had noticeably limited interactions with their grandmother and wife. He said, it's deeply concerning to notice how my deceased brother's children have been drawn into the complexities of adult disputes, effectively being weaponized in the process. Boss met Allison Holker in 2010 and married 3 years later, at which Boss adopted her daughter Wesley, now 14. They went on to have 2 more children, Maddox and Zaya 3. As we know, I didn't say this earlier in detail, but the DJ and actor was found dead at the Oak Tree Motel, a 15-minute walk from his home, at about 11:15 a.m. on December 13th, and he died from a self-inflicting gunshot wound. Reports. I think that her revelations in this book may point to why she made the decision not to have the children interact. She's kind of alluding to the fact that he was abused as a child. And obviously that would fall under the mother's watch. And I think it's unfair to the mother that she's putting out this information the way she is, especially if she's not communicating with the family and also not allowing, the children access to that side of the family. But she's moving on. Okay, like she said, she has found love again. Her boyfriend is Adam Edmonds. And she, explained that she feels supported, seen, and understood as if she didn't before. A lot of the proclamations she made about her new relationship sounded like these are things that were missing in her relationship with Twitch. And I also found it interesting that she's making a big point to outline why she stopped posting him and decided to create or carve out a new narrative for herself and her children, which is her and them without Stephen Twitch Boss. So yeah, I don't know if you guys are going to buy the book. It's coming out February 4th, and it's called This Far, My Story of Love, Loss, and Embracing My Light. It's coming out February 4th. I'm not going to buy it. I'm probably not going to read it, but let me know if you will. I'm curious. Now, one thing about her that I noticed when she speaks, she's very guarded and she's very protected with the way she expresses herself, very cautious. And I don't know, my opinion is she got some things she's hiding. She's not being very transparent, although she's trying to come across as such. Something about her ain't right, in my opinion, but that is just my opinion. But before I go, I want to show you guys that a couple people weren't happy about the revelations that she made about Stephen Twitch Boss. One of those people being a family member as well as the Real Housewives of Potomac's Candace. Let's start with Candace. She posted, I'm not even going to say it, but this white woman is doing everything but protecting her Black children and her Black husband's legacy. She could have kept this in her therapist's office, SMH. Black men deal with stereotypes around mental health, drug use, alcohol abuse, etc., and are stigmatizing far more greatly for these issues. In my opinion, this is a haphazard and irresponsible way to bring awareness. She could have just easily taken this story to Essence or Ebony, where care would have been taken to share such a tragically intimate story of a Black man's plight against himself.
My really dear friends. And
so I actually can agree. I don't know about going to those Black platforms, but I feel like maybe she should not have had to share these things about him so publicly. He does have children and family to think about. Someone else who spoke out was a family member, it says, of his. Let's see what she had to say. She won't let our family see the kids. He wasn't an addict. He smoked weed and was actively trying to quit. He wasn't some junkie. Yeah, I don't give a F about an NDA. This crazy woman made me and his actual family, including sign an NDA just to even attend the funeral. She's been trying to tarnish his legacy and refuses to let the Boss family see the children, only to exploit and lie on my cousin. Hell no. Wow. Somebody said in the comments, I'm going to stand exactly how I felt when Twitch passed, and that is something is just not right with all of this. Somebody else said, Black women, mind your business. This don't concern us. Somebody else says, so she didn't notice, said drug addiction while he was alive. Why? Because he was a great man that treated her with nothing but kindness and respect. No matter how y'all say she's grieving, this was disgusting. And then lastly, to say someone is an addict over weed is insane. Yeah, I think to say he was an addict, if it was just marijuana, is a stretch. And I think she's exploiting him for her own, obviously for her own gain, her own personal gain. And I hope nobody buys this damn book now, to be honest. And I don't know. I just don't, there's something about her. It's just something I'm not feeling. But, you know, like I said, best of luck and all that good stuff. That's all I got, y'all. Till next time. Bye.